Annie sat in her bedroom, brushing her doll's tangled hair. The air was warm and quiet. Everything felt safe. Suddenly, her mother's voice called out from downstairs, "Sweetheart, come down and help me." Annie smiled and said, "Coming, Mommy," skipping toward the door. But as she passed the cupboard under the stairs, it creaked open. A cold, trembling hand shot out and grabbed her wrist. It was her mother. Her eyes wide with terror, she whispered, "Don't go into the kitchen." I heard it too. Annie froze, her heart pounding in her chest. At that moment, the same voice called again from downstairs, "Sweetheart, come help Mommy." Tears ran down her mother's face. She cried and said, "It's not me. Something is using my voice." The hallway grew colder. The lights flickered, then went out. Slow, heavy footsteps began climbing the stairs. A soft knock echoed through the hallway, and a whisper followed. "Annie, why are you hiding from Mommy?" Annie pressed herself against her real mother. Then, from inside the cupboard, a whisper came, "You can't hide from me, Annie. If you want part 2, comment yes and subscribe." I thought my house was safe until Ethan brought home a Ouija board. I had one rule: no clowns, no Ouija boards, ever. "Just this once?" he asked. I snapped, "Get it out." Now, the next night, the kids were at their grandparents'. Ethan came home late. He didn't say a word, just climbed into bed fully dressed. I thought he was drunk. But the next morning, the kids looked terrified. "Mom, Daddy's acting weird," my daughter whispered. I ran upstairs and froze. Ethan was standing in front of the mirror, painting his face white. He wore a red wig and a clown suit. "Ethan," I said softly. He turned and smiled. "It's been a long time, Maya," he said. My blood ran cold. That voice, it wasn't his. He picked up a knife and whispered, "Do exactly what I say." He made me bring him water, then smashed the glass on the floor. "Now walk," he said. I stepped barefoot onto the glass. The pain was unbearable, but I kept going because my children were watching and I couldn't let him hurt them. Suddenly, I saw my son grab the phone. He called 911 while I kept Ethan distracted. Moments later, sirens wailed outside. In that instant, the clown vanished, the knife still trembling in his hand. He looked confused, but it was too late. They took him away. Now he's gone. But at night, I still hear that voice whisper from the dark, "Goodbye, Maya, for now." I work for a moving company in Charleston. I've had this job for 6 years, and I've seen almost everything. But one house this past summer still haunts me. It was a big white house at the end of a long driveway. An older woman lived there. She warned me about a heavy wooden armoire her late husband had built, said it might be too much to move. I tilted it forward and heard the wood crack. Behind it was a door, no knob, just a dark hole where one should have been. I asked, "Ma'am, did you know this was here?" But she was gone. Curiosity got the better of me. I forced the door open and saw countless skeletons lying inside the room. I froze. Suddenly, the same woman walked in. Her face twisted unnaturally, and she laughed in a horrifying way as she said, "Are you ready for lunch?" I bolted in fear. The hallway twisted, the walls bending like the house was breathing. The front door was gone. I crashed back through the hidden door and found the place rotten. This time, the house was decayed, covered in dust and cobwebs, like no one had lived there for decades. Outside, my truck waited, but the house behind me was collapsing in silence. I still dream about what was waiting behind that armoire.